What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of The Lonely Wrist. What's up, all my lonely wristers?
Oh
That's
yeah.
that's, that's something I just came up with. Hopefully, it sounds good. So
This wrist is
today,
lonely, but not that one.
this is pretty much lonely. I'm
We're not
health
lonely tonight. Oh,
health
we're not
focused.
lonely. We're not lonely today, so don't you worry.
Do you, are you wearing your are you wearing your Panerai? What are you wearing?
Yeah, I'm gonna pin right today.
Ooh, Panerai girl.
Yep. I
Um,
almost forgot to wear my watch today. When I was like leaving, it's like, damn it, I have to wear my watch. Usually I don't wear my
good
off. Just
good
fun fact.
call. It's been a busy day. It's Monday. I know we're all super busy. I'm trying to prepare for my trip to
Definitely.
Geneva on
Oh, fun.
Wednesday.
When are you gonna go? Oh, Wednesday. Oh,
Yep, two
fun.
days.
Where are you gonna
So
go? Geneva
I
and
I am going to Geneva. I'm going to Le Loc. I'm going to
oh yeah.
Notre. And I'm going to right outside of I think like I can't think of the name of it right now.
Yeah, that's fun. That's a place
All the
that I went when
watchmaking.
I went. That's fun. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
I'm excited for you.
He's only going there for Toblerone, and that's it. The chocolate. Then he's just coming home.
Oh
Yeah, pretty
yeah, that's
much.
don't blame him.
So let's kick this off. We have obviously a special guest. We're getting right into
Oh,
the fun here. So we have Bruna. Say hi,
that's
Bruna.
me. Hello, hi. How are you?
I thought it'd be great to have Bruna on today because she is the queen legend at building relationships.
If you
OG.
say so. If you say so.
she she sells almost every watch in the world, every watch brand. She represents them.
That's
And
true.
this is an episode for watch nerds out there, and maybe we could pick your brain.
Oh
So,
yeah.
we're going to utilize you to share some of your wisdom about building a better relationship with your AD.
Sounds great.
So,
That's
welcome
great.
to the show, Bruna, officially.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you. Sorry for taking a while, but we made it happen. So that's
She's
good.
very busy, guys. She's too
I'm a
busy
busy
for
person.
us.
It's true.
Stays busy, man.
Not bragging, but I got things to do.
It's
Keeps you
okay.
young.
Yeah. I mean, I can only imagine just the juggling act that you have to do that you call work.
Oh yeah. No,
So,
I do. So everything that I propose myself to do, I try to do 110%. So that's why sometimes I get a little, caught up in time if I decide to do something else. And then I do have my own business and I do have, the store that I work at, and then I have a personal life, and then I have, other projects in mind. So
of
it's,
course.
24 hours per day, 7 days per week sometimes sounds a little
She,
short, but we make it
How-
happen.
she,
How's your sleep schedule?
Uh, that one I will take care of. Yeah, that one I need 7 hours per day. Otherwise, it won't work the rest of it. So that's good. That's
she,
a
That's
good
right.
question.
she's a very successful budding Airbnb host.
Oh yeah, which I'm closing my account, by the way. So that's why I have a meeting a little bit. But
Ooh.
other projects in the horizon. So I can't share right now, but something exciting is coming up
I
soon. So
I'll keep my eyes out for sure.
yes.
This is funny because we recorded this podcast already, but we had some issues with the first one, so we had to get Bruna back. So thanks
Yeah, yeah.
for coming back and taking the time.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Um, so tell us how you got started in the watch industry,
Um,
and go from there.
so it was almost 3 years ago when I simply applied for a full-time job. Back then, I used to work, it was right after the pandemic. I always work in retail, right? So before the pandemic, I used to work in a jewelry company, one bigger corporation, and then I got, laid off. And then when they called me back, it was in a leather company, another big corporation, Louis Vuitton. I don't work for them anymore, but anyways, Louis Vuitton. And then it was part time when they called me back. So obviously, part time for me would not work financially because I'm too expensive to work for part time only. So, so I start, looking for full time jobs because back then it was not a possibility to get a full time where I was at, which is okay. So I'm glad that it worked out as it did. So I simply applied for, a watch store that was hiring for full time, and I had an interview, and I had a very great connection right away with my store director, which was the person who hired me. Um, and I started, working full time. So it was not something that I planned. It was not like a call from the universe or anything like that. It was simply an opportunity to be full time. But I found out myself much happier in the industry for many, many reasons, and I'm there for almost 3 years now.
Wow.
So you
Yeah,
you landed into it.
go where makes you happy as well. Like I always tell
Absolutely.
anybody that in a career, like you need to enjoy what you're doing, otherwise you're gonna be miserable and
Absolutely.
it's not worth it.
Absolutely. I mean,
Uh,
I have a large background in sales and hospitality, and then few places that I work at, I did not love and that I didn't want to be there. So I didn't spend too much of my time there anyways. But most of the place that I passed through my career, I have nothing to complain about. The only thing I complained was part-time, doesn't pay my bills at all. But, other than that was just fine. But by far, watches is definitely my favorite industry.
so it's safe to say you just kind of fell on your butt and you became a watch salesperson.
Yep, exactly. Simple like that.
That's pretty
Simple like
awesome.
that.
I think I met you maybe we've known each other for maybe like 2 years now. So you
Yeah,
were
it was right in
pretty
the beginning, right when I started, maybe.
you're pretty fresh in, but obviously I am glazed over, but I've met many people, not like Bruna, but many people in a similar role as Bruna, and something that really stuck out is just like your passion. You could tell like what you're talking about, you're very passionate about, and you care. Which
Absolutely.
I just don't see very often. And we immediately connected. We've stayed in contact pretty much the whole time, and yeah, so I feel like you're setting a good example for the industry.
Oh, thank you. That's a
And
big responsibility. It's a big
Yeah.
weight on my shoulder, just FYI, but oh well.
yeah,
That's so selfish
no,
of you, Blake. Why do you do that to her?
Yeah, but I do have to admit again, everything that I propose myself to do, I put 150% efforts. I don't like to be like average. I like to be seen in a good way, especially because the world is so small. This industry, especially in Las Vegas, even back in Brazil when I used to work in sales, also everyone knows each other somehow, and I feel that in general, be intentional, right? So if you do a good job, everyone's gonna see it, and you're gonna be rewarded for it. And if you do something that you don't like, just do for a short period of time. Might be somebody else's passion. That's how I see. And then yeah, that's what guides me to do my work how I do it.
Love that.
And thank you for the
So
compliments.
of course.
so since you're so successful at this, Bruna, what's been your approach to cultivating client relationships?
So for all the business that I've been to, I learned very quickly that it's much easier to sell to for someone that knows you, that
Oh yeah.
trust you somehow. So to me, more important than close a sale right away is to make sure the client is happy, and then they will return to you again, like return to me again. This is to me, like, of course, it feels good to close right away one sale, but to me it's much better. I celebrate when the same client that I sold something comes back to me or refer somebody to me, or this is way more important. So I learned this very quickly and right in the beginning of my career. So to me, every single interaction that I do with any client is extremely intentional. My intention is to solve the problem. If they walk in my store asking for a watch, in my mind that's a problem. They don't have a watch, and I'm there to solve this problem, right? To sell a watch. But better than sell one watch, I'm there to help them building a collection. Or if they do have a collection, helping them to diversify their collection. Or, I always kind of plant in my
Think of the next step.
brain. Exactly. If I do something in my mind, there's something ahead already that I'm ready to. Obviously it doesn't happen 100% of the time, but I do have a large amount of clients for the short period of time that I've been in the industry. And and that's how my brain works. I try to cultivate, so this connection never ends.
How do you? I mean, obviously, I'm sure you have a lot of clients because every time I walk in to come see you, you're with somebody, or you're busy,
Oh
or
yeah.
you're waving at me from the corner. But how do you keep up with everybody? Like, how do you keep up
um
with all your clients? Like, obviously, like I know it's important for you to remember things, right? Like their pieces that are in their collection, or maybe where their collection's heading, or maybe what pieces they're hoping to acquire in the future. But how do you remember all that? I mean, is
That's a
it?
great question because everyone says like you have a memory, and I do have a good memory. So if you do
I
something
don't.
bad, I'm never
That
gonna
sucks.
forget, and then if you do something good, I'm never gonna forget either.
I forgot
But
what
I
my
do.
breakfast was.
Oh no,
Yeah, me too.
I do have a great memory actually, and then that's a plus, right? So that's
Right.
I don't know the secret sauce, but I just have it. So, but also
Wow.
what I try to stimulate, my interaction with my clients. For example, in the store that I work, there is a system that we put the client's information. There is like a notes that usually I use the notes to put, okay, the client's wife's name. Sometimes she never goes there, but he talk about his wife, so I know her name. Or they have kids, or where they work, and then a big project or something that they're willing to accomplish, or they're gonna sell the company, something. So I usually put it like in the notes, like there's a private information. So I'm the only on, I mean, the
Right.
corporation, me, I'm the only one,
Yeah.
who see this notes. So it's easy to me to remember this information, right? Because I always add more. But also when you start genuinely care about your clients, when you start to talk to them so often, you kind of remember. Like I'm pretty sure you know a little bit about life of your friends. And I'm
No,
not
not
here to
really.
mix it up, professional and personal life. I do have like a lot of clients that I know a lot about their lives. It's just because I talk to them so often,
Right.
not only about watches,
Of
sometimes about
course.
a trip, or sometimes about, I don't know, dogs, or
Yeah.
wine, or anything that they want to just chat about it. And then I do pay attention in the information, so it's easy to me to remember all those information. But I'm always busy too in the store because that's what I'm there for, to think
Yeah.
about. My hour again, I work for money. That's the reality. So to me, I need to pay off my time, and then
Of
I don't
course.
want to waste nobody else's time there. So if somebody take the time to get out of their house, to drive to the street, to park and walk through the casino and go to my store, I have to kind of appreciate also their time there.
Right. Yeah.
So,
Naturally.
not doing nothing, not doing anything, I don't feel that's respectful with them. So I'm there to be as professional as I can be, being as informative as I can be. So it's a way in my mind to appreciate their time to be there, because they can simply buy online if they want to, but they
Yeah.
decide to go to the store. So, being more present in the moment to me is very important. That's why I try to keep myself busy all the time, with
Yeah.
a
I mean,
good way, like be productive.
it's kind of funny because obviously I haven't bought no watch from you. I'm sorry,
Yet.
but yeah, yeah. But I'd say 90% of the time we talk about beagles because
That's true.
we are both beagle parents,
That's true. That is
and we
true. See, and then a watch goes in the middle of the conversation somehow, but
it does.
that's how I, try to connect some, because if you're too operational with your client, also gets boring. Like
Yeah,
imagine you
definitely.
talk to somebody
Definitely.
only about products and
Yeah,
promotion and price and numbers, and
it
no, life is not all about that.
it feels very transactional when that happens. Like it doesn't
Exactly.
feel genuine. It doesn't feel honest. It doesn't feel and that's the worst part.
Yeah, and then
Because go
go
ahead.
ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Yeah.
No, I mean what you have to say is probably way more important than I have to say. So
No,
go
but
ahead.
that's a true. And then if you put yourself as a client, like when I am ready to buy something, and then I go to store. Of course, I don't want to know the sales professional life, like it's none of my business. But it
Right.
feels good to know when they ask other questions besides the product.
Yeah.
So
For
I start
sure.
to kind of reflect that, and then I bring back one thing that I learned, also. So in Las Vegas is a place for celebration, right? A lot of people come to Vegas to celebrate something, right? Sometimes they come to spend a weekend in Vegas just because, but sometimes they come for anniversary, birthdays, vacation, whatever. So I realize that when I am on vacation, what I like to do, I like to travel, right? And then when I travel, I go, like, for example, this my last birthday last year, I went to Napa. So every single winery that we went, I remember I went to three of them. So two of them asked was the reason, like the purpose of our trip or something. I told, oh, it's my birthday. So the way how they approach the whole presentation for the wine taste is completely different than the winery that did not ask. And then it
Right.
doesn't make me feel bad or anything. It's just the feeling of sharing things that's not related to wine, for example, feel good. So every single client that walk in my store, I ask this question: what's your occasion? What are you shopping for? And then the answer, depending on what's the answer, the interaction goes differently, right? And I know it feels much better to hear more from them about their lives and what their plans than just about watches. So I try to bring to my work what I see, what I pay attention outside of that. It
Couldn't
works.
agree more. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah. And so I'm curious for you, Bruna. What
Mhm.
challenges have you faced when trying to establish trust and rapport with new clients, especially?
So I personally don't take anything personal. I don't take anything personal. So there is clients who are willing to, establish a relationship, to, spend their time with you and then learn about it and then engage. And then even if they're not ready to buy, they'll consider your time and then, moving forward, something might happen, right? But there's a lot of people that they just want to deal. They just
Yeah.
want what they want. They just want what I cannot somehow deliver. And it's very frustrating in one part because, again, for me, I feel that, okay, I did not accomplish what my goal is with this person. But again, I don't take personal. Everyone has their preferences, everyone has their priorities, everyone has a way. Like, for example, last week I had a client come, this week I had a client come to the store. Every single watch, I couldn't interact with her because every single watch she was pointing, all she want to know is just price. How much is this one here? How much? And then before I tell the price, I usually, present the watch, put in her wrist. She didn't want to even just say this. Like, I just want to know the number. And then it was very challenging to engage when
Right.
someone is like this. But again, I don't take personal. Maybe that's her way to buy things. I didn't sell obviously anything for her. She didn't find anything that she liked there, but she will find somewhere. So that's okay.
You know,
Um,
that happens a lot in Vegas for people who are trying to wash money. Like, I'm not sure if you've probably had that, but people
I don't
come
think she
in.
want to watch money. I just think she was in the budget. She didn't want to spend more than what she wanted her, what she had
You
in her
never
mind. That's
know,
how I
but
feel.
yeah, it could
Could be
be.
that too, but that's the impression that I had. She had like some number, and she was like asking whatever she
Like, this
liked
is
and see the
beautiful,
number.
but I need to stay
Yeah,
under 10K or some
exactly.
some
So that's a
self-imposed.
feeling. Yeah, that's a feeling that I got, but could be that too. But again,
Yeah. You
regardless,
never
I
know.
I didn't sell anything for her.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then that's she's not the only person who does that. Like this kind of situation happens
Right.
sometimes, So
Yeah.
it's a little frustrating. But again, I don't take personal. It's like that's her way to buy. And then maybe another person won't buy next door, but buys with me. So
That's
that's how
right.
life works,
I
It'll
mean,
it'll come back at some point to you. Keep being a good person, to keep being a genuine person, and I
Yep,
think that people will always give you your time of day and help you out in that way too.
I
I
mean,
agree.
you can't help everybody, right?
That's right.
So,
Exactly. I wish, but no.
um, tell us a memorable story where like a strong client relationship led to some unique or unexpected opportunity.
I have so many because I got so many clients. And yeah, I mean, so I would say maybe a recent story. So
Sure.
this couple, um, they um, they have a home here in Vegas, but they also have a home in Colorado. They come every 6 months, kind of thing. They always stop by to take a look in, watches. They had not bought anything for the first 2 years, I would say, because I met them right in the beginning. But recently I sold something, and then the first time that I sold a watch, like right after, it ended up selling like back to back to back to back, and then we have like a few watches already in their wrists. But it took a while, I guess, because they needed time to kind of understand what the money was not the problem for them. Clearly, we could see in the beginning. And again, I'm not the kind of person that I kind of push in the beginning. No, I just make them feel very comfortable. And
Right.
then the feedback that I heard from them is that they feel much comfortable dealing with me because they see that I'm not pushy, but I kind of show what's up there and I let them take their time and then I, show the information that they want to know and help them make their decisions. So that's a good feedback to hear. Um, so that's the most recent, I would say.
Did they
Um,
take you to Colorado?
no, I haven't been there yet.
I was waiting
Although
for you to.
they told me they told me when I go there, so just reach them out. So in Denver.
Yeah.
So, but I have
Nice.
not been there yet. That's very
Well,
sweet, actually. A lot of clients. It's very sweet. A lot of clients actually. They have homes like right. I mean, they live in other places, so they always, oh, when you come to Miami, when you come to whatever
Yeah.
they live, let
Inviting
me
you.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's very very sweet. So I have not
That's
been
really
to
cool.
none of those places, but but that's very sweet to hear this from them.
If Bruna's customers are listening, she's waiting for the invitation, guys.
Oh yeah, no, I went to. So I was on vacation. I was on vacation this first week of January, and one of my good clients, she has a home in Miami. She doesn't live in Miami, but she has a home there, and she was there the week that I was there. Also, I got the flu.
Oh.
Oh no.
She was like, I thought, because I told her that I was going to Miami, and she's like, oh, let's hang out, blah blah blah. I was like, yeah, sure, blah blah blah. But when I got there, I was like, I'm sorry, I got the flu. It feels like I'm avoiding something. No, I just want to, spread the illness to anybody. It's like I don't feel like getting sick either, so
Yeah.
it was all right. But
Better not to
we,
chance it.
I get a lot of this invitation from my clients. That's very sweet of them, actually.
That's pretty cool. So I was going to say, touching back on what we were just talking about, for anybody listening as well, sales 101, if you want to be a good salesperson as well, be genuine to people like we mentioned before, but sell what the people are looking for. Don't try and convince other people that, oh, you need this other thing that's crazy, like that they had no idea. Like, it's okay to do that sometimes, but generally you want to always try and sell within a category that they're interested in.
I
It makes things...
partially disagree.
Do you?
I do. Yes.
All right, let's hear it.
Yeah, I partially disagree.
A lot of the brands you sell themselves, but I'm curious why you disagree.
Yeah, I agree that you should not be like pushing for something that the client don't know when then you think they should have it because you think this. That's I agree. But sometimes clients think they want something, but they don't really want. They're just being told they should have from somebody they trust. Right? So imagine if I sell only what my client wants. I would not sell anything.
Huh.
That makes sense.
How do you figure that out? Like, how do you figure that out? Like
doing my job. My job is educate clients. It's educate. I mean, obviously there is a big portion of collectors that they know all the brands that I carry, and then they know what they want, and then that's much easier. But that's not sell. That's clerk. Like I'm getting the watch and I'm getting payment and they're leaving. So I'm not selling. Right? Sell for me is someone who walks in my store and then finds, okay, I need a watch, and I've been told I should get I don't know, I'm just gonna give a name, like a Rolex sub. Good luck finding a Rolex sub.
Right.
Retail. I don't sell. First, I don't retail. I don't sell Rolex. So, so how I'm gonna sell for this person? I mean, you can get your Rolex sub. It's fine. You should have it too. I agree, but I don't have it. There is no one available for now. So let's find out what else you might like. So that's how I do my job, so kind of show what's around, educating them. And based on that particular piece, why a sub? Why? Oh, because I want a diving watch. Okay, so let me show other diving watches. Or why a sub? No, because I want this iconic piece. Okay, let me show other iconic pieces from other brands you might like to. And I share the history, I show the mechanism, and they ended up liking it and get it. I mean, that's how I think.
Everybody's looking for a sub, but I mean, it's debatable that for the sub price point, you can get a lot for your money.
I agree. And then I'm not here to tell that anybody else's dream watch should be the one that I think is my dream watch. You know what I mean? Like I'm not in this position, but my job is to educate based in what I have and based what I know, and then let them make their decision. Like the worst thing for me is buyer's regret. I would hate to sell something that the client's like, you know what, I just don't like, I want to change, or I want to return. Like my return rate is like close to zero, Obviously there is here and there one another like and ended up exchanging.
You're gonna have them.
But in 3 years you have like I can count in a hand how many I have return exchange. Like it's very, very low, because again, before any of my clients pull the trigger, they're very certain that they understand what is coming from, and then what it's all about. And then that's for me sales. Like imagine you go buying a watch that you have in mind and you end up with something else and you absolutely love what you got it, but it's completely different. That's happening a couple of days ago actually with a client, a local client. My client, he, I sold a couple watches for him and he texted me when I was on vacation. I told him, I was like, hey, I'm out of the store for a week. I'll be back next week. And if you'd like to go there, my coworkers will help you. And then, my manager's like, no, I'll wait for you. So he was very, very sweet. He waited for me. And then he came back to the store thinking about a reversal. Like he was very certain, I came here to buy a reversal. But can you show me also a couple other options? Because he gave me like an options. I know his style. I know what he likes and what he doesn't like. And he's like, can you show me like around this price point, something that I might like? Ended up getting a Zenith Chronomaster. Completely opposite than reversal. And then he went to the store to buy a reversal. And I never told him. Exactly. And I never told him, don't get a reversal, get the Zenith. The reversal actually was more expensive. So I would make more money selling reversal at that point. But I just show him, was like, what about this right here? Like, what to think about? I start to show him this story about El Primero took 9 years to develop and, design the movements, the best, I was telling him the whole story about the movement and the style. He just love it. He just absolutely love it. And then he's going to get the reversal afterwards, but he made his decision complete. That's a sales.
Yeah.
That's
So what strategies are you employing to like understand your client's needs better then? Like what exactly are you doing to like
listen to what he says? Like again, he was my known client. I sold a couple watches for him in the past.
Right.
So I know like he's a doctor, he doesn't like big watches, he doesn't like super bulky styles, he doesn't like link bracelet, he likes leather, very elegant, very subtle, but he likes iconic pieces. So just listen to what he says, how the watch sits on his wrist, like all those little details. I was paying attention. And then I showed him pretty much. I showed I showed a couple Zenith, but the Chronomaster 39 millimeters was the one that he took. I got the other option too from Zenith, the new Chrono Pilot, but he didn't really love that one so much. But yeah, it was, so that's why I partially disagree with when you say like you should sell what the client wants. Sometimes the client they don't know what they want, frankly.
Yeah,
sometimes.
no, that's totally. I'm actually glad that you gave that description as well. I mean, everybody is completely different in their sales approach, and clearly it's working for you as well. So no, I love that you said that too. So thank you for your input on that.
You're welcome.
Beyond like the physical purchase of the watch and the satisfaction that goes into that, how do you see that the buyer or your client ensures value beyond their purchase? Does that make sense?
Sorry, I didn't get a question.
Like
besides beyond the purchase,
well, obviously,
purchase, what?
Obviously they come in and they see a watch that they like and then they buy it. But beyond that, like in terms of creating that experience that a customer like feels at home, feels comfortable, like what type of steps do you take to provide that experience,
So it's a watch is a commodity, right? You can find every single corner, the same watch that I sell in my store. What makes a difference is the engagement you have with the person that you're dealing directly. Because if someone doesn't want to engage with anybody at all, they're gonna go online and buy the watch and get done with, right? But I do feel that the experience, the ambience, the engagement that they have with the person makes difference, right? It's so much more pleasant. You walk in a store that's clean, that has a luxurious environment. See, if you're looking for luxury watches, right? So that they have a nice assortment of options for you to try, even though if you're not gonna get all of them, but at least you can see most of them. If you have like water available for you, if you have like seats to be comfortable and try, and then nice mirrors, and if you have a champagne to sell, like all those kind of little things makes difference in the whole experience. Because again, to buy the watch, to swipe the card, that's the easiest part for the client, and they can do this anywhere, however they want, right? They can do online in their own house in the computer, but they can go next door across the street to their house in their hometown and find the watch. That's not a big deal, but the whole thing, the whole momentum, that makes difference. And that's how I try to do differently, because again, it's in respect to their time. If someone is getting out of their house, is getting out of their hotel room to go to my store, to browse around, I have to be respectful with their time also. So I'll do my best to make sure it's worth it, their visit to my store. And they're going to end up buying something or not really. But if they don't buy, they don't feel like that impression is like, I'm never going to buy in the store because it's so
That's
awful.
right.
I'm just going to buy online kind of thing, you know? So,
Yeah.
but yeah, there's some place that you go. And then, I mean, I'm talking myself. I'm very loyal for few salesperson for some places, not all of the places, because I'm not a heavy buyer anyways. I'm not really a person who shops all the time. But when I buy something, you know, I like customer service. That's how I work with, and then I pay attention in other people's customer service so I can copy from my reality, or I just don't do because I think it's awful, right? And then I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one person who analyzes that. My clients, even though they don't work with customer service, sometimes they have other industry, but they pay attention that if they're gonna drop at least $10,000 in my store, the service has to be equivalent to the amount of money that they're spending,
Yeah.
right?
So give
So even though
$10,000
if
worth
they
of service.
exactly, and even though if they're not spending $10,000, the fact that they are going there, it says something.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, you know, that's how I try to make sure they always come back, you know. So to try to make fun the experience, you know.
Yeah, totally. Um, and how do you keep up with the changing tastes and trends in watches?
I just follow them. I don't need to like what I
She's
sell.
trendy.
That's
I
right.
mean, but that's a reality. I don't need to like what I sell. I need to know what's going on in the market, but I don't need to like. Am I right?
That's true.
Right.
Everyone likes Rolex Daytona. I don't. It doesn't mean that I don't want to, you know, sell a Rolex Daytona. That my client needs to like, not me. You know, so I just need to know what's going on in the market. I need to know what the brands are doing, what's the benefit of each one of the, you know, the new developments, and then I need to share the information and let the client make a decision based on what I share. It's very important to know what's happening in the market, absolutely, but again, I don't need to like it necessarily. I don't need to have it to sell good.
You
And then it was something that took me a while because in the beginning, I was trained by one of the sales professional in my store. That now she retired, but she to me was the best salesperson I ever met in the whole industry. She was so knowledgeable, and she had like very nice watches, right? But she worked in the industry for like 20 plus years, so you know, so she had like very very cool, beautiful pieces. And I was like, oh my god, I'm just gonna sell good like her if I have those watches. So I was like in my mind,
yeah.
I need to be a watch collector. I need to have this. I need, and then I realized afterwards, like, wait a minute, I don't. I need to be a sales professional. I need to be a watch expert. I need to know about watch. I don't need to have watches to sell good. And I don't. I have a few watches, which I love it. They're amazing. I like my watches. Completely different taste than a lot of people who likes watches. My watches are mine. It's my taste. Some people's like, really gonna buy this? I was like, yeah, I did it. It's none of your business. It's mine. I like it. My
Right.
style. Right. And then, but you know, what I sell is completely opposite than my taste sometimes, but it's what my clients like, and that's what matters.
I say it's probably even beneficial to not be a watch collector, especially
Yeah, it's
if
less
you're in your
addicting.
role,
I agree.
because
It's less
because
addicting.
not only is it addicting, but you fall into the same habits that buyers can get consumed by, such as like hype and resale value, and then collecting, and then as you're collecting watches, you're focused on your collection journey, not your client's collection journey.
I agree. I agree. I
You
agree.
know,
And then again, I like watches.
of
I do
course,
have
yeah,
some, you know, I appreciate the art behind the inspiration, the craftsmanship, the history of all the brands, all of that,
yeah, definitely.
you know. But at the end of the day, I'm here to um, you know, to share with my clients what I know about it, let them make their decision and be happy with their decision and then go from there, you know? So that's
I
how I keep up with the hype, with the changes.
Keeping up with the
perfect.
Joneses.
Yeah.
So I want to get one more question out, and then we obviously promised a lot of our listeners to get your perspective on how to build a strong relationship with somebody like you, somebody who has the ability to allocate watches.
Mm-hmm.
But the final question that I have is, in your opinion, what sets a good watch dealer apart from a great one?
The people that work for. So watches are available. Some watches are not, but those watches are very difficult to get it. It won't go for everybody. When you
Right.
put this in your mind, make things much easier, much smoother. Don't take personal. It's not because we don't like it, it's because that's a reality. If I have one watch that I get for a year, and if you don't have no purchase history, probably you won't be the one getting this watch. That's the reality.
Right.
So when you're, and then I'm very straightforward with my clients because again, I don't like to waste my time. I don't want to waste their time. It's just the reality. It doesn't mean that we're never gonna get the watch. No, in the reality nowadays, that's how it works. um, what the difference between dealers is, the people you're dealing with, people you're working with, being genuine, being upfront, truly caring about the client and the client needs makes such a big difference. Because if I know my client wants that particular watch and I have 2 allocations per year and I know it's extremely difficult to get it, and just be chitty chatting and not doing business is not going to help. So
Right.
I prefer to be upfront and then see, share how the world is nowadays, and then do my due diligences, like educate about the brand, educate about the process, and then educate about watches. And if they're willing to collect watches, then you pick a place that they trust the person, and go from there. But again, it doesn't mean that my place, doesn't mean that I am the only person reliable. No, there is lots of
Right.
great sales professionals. There's a lot
Yeah.
of great places to do business with. But the most important is the people who you're dealing with. Because if you see like promising too much, asking too much, and not happening anything, that's not how I usually do business with. But if someone is comfortable doing business like this, that's up to them. But I feel like we're very clear, very upfront, and then proactive and knowledgeable. Definitely, helps a lot. And then again, when you get a connection genuinely with the person that you're dealing with, makes difference.
Yeah, I mean, there's gonna be somebody like we're all different people. Like me,
Mm-hmm.
you, Justin, we're all different people. We all respond differently to different experiences. Like something that may be a normal day for you, may be a stressful day for me, or vice versa,
Mm-hmm.
right? But
Yeah,
every,
exactly. It can be the
every
same. It can be the same store. The same
exactly,
situation just described can be in the same store. Like I would not be able to deal with someone who speaks only Chinese, for example. Is it
probably hard.
Yeah.
how I'm gonna build a genuine connection with someone who doesn't speak the same language? That's a
Yeah,
reality. It doesn't
That's
mean that
right.
I'm a bad
Yeah.
person. Doesn't mean they're not a good
of
client.
course.
Just
Yeah.
like the connection is not there somehow. And then what I'm gonna do in this situation, I'm just gonna call one of my Chinese coworkers and then let them guide through. And then if they have any, hard time dealing with someone who speaks Spanish or Portuguese, they're gonna call me and do the same. So that's how pretty much works. That's why people are important in a business, and then who you deal with is very important, more than product assortments. I feel like.
I wanted to save the last approximately 10 minutes of our podcast, to go over that strategy, right? Because everybody that I know, and obviously we had the idea to bring you on for this podcast to bring customers into your shoes,
Mm-hmm.
right, and to understand what you look for in customers, and how you help customers not only with the service side but getting them the watches that they so desire, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously you sell some of the hardest watches in the world to get allocated,
Mm-hmm.
right? So how do you figure out from your perspective, and again it's going to be a different perspective from every sales professional, but how do you decide which customer to go back to your leadership team and say, this is the customer I want to get this watch? Like
Oh,
how do
that's
you
a great question. Yeah. So it's basically our job is sell watches, and then more than that, we want to make sure the watches are going to the right people. And then I'm not here to tell you're right, you're wrong, not that. But
right?
if I do have a connection, if I do business with a client for a while, if this client is open for possibilities within my range, my company, right? So if the client has celebration that they want to share with us, like, they like to celebrate their birthdays, they like to get a watch, they got promoted, they think about watch, and then they always think about us. Of course, when I have an opportunity, I'm gonna give priority for this person. There is not really a recipe, there is no like, oh, you have to be like this and that to get this watch. Not really that, but just, being genuine about your wishes. Every single sales professional wants to sell watches. There is
Right.
no such a thing as someone, oh, I don't want to sell for this person. No, it does not exist. We want to sell watches for everybody. That's a reality. But, you have to understand that a lot of people sometimes for the same pieces. And sometimes we have someone in mind that in our mind, okay, maybe it's not the time for this one yet because this other person also wants this piece, and then being waiting for a little longer, or have done a bit more business long term, and then I feel that this person could be first. And again, it's just when you give priority to our dealer, the dealer is definitely going to prioritize you. It works both ways, but again, there's not really a recipe. It's just,
Would
keep
you
in touch with the person. What's up?
would you say like if one of your customers comes in with a watch that you didn't sell them,
Mm-hmm.
like what's going through your mind?
Nothing.
Like obviously
Life happens.
you may not care, right? But as somebody who's looking to get that next challenging piece to get,
Yeah, if they got it
um,
somewhere else, like, congratulations, that's a great job. Good for
it,
you.
it
I mean, if
doesn't
it's something,
make or break, obviously.
no, absolutely not. I mean, so again, watches are commodity. So the hard pieces to get is hard for everybody. If my client somehow got it on the plate, like I have good clients, like one of my VIP clients, he was in Vienna, I think, and he called me. He texted me actually. This was like 6 months ago. He texted me because in Vienna he was there. Probably they saw like what he was wearing, like,
Right.
and they offer something like very special with no purchase history. He said, like, Bruna, I got offered this one. What do you think? Should I go? I was like, just get it. Just get it. Because I
Yeah.
know I don't have this watch now. I can get it for you. I just don't have now. I don't have a time frame. I don't want to promise something that I don't know what I'm going to be able to accomplish. Just get it. That's not going to be the last watch. And then we're going to move forward. This is very important
What
because to me,
what
because if, what's up?
Oh no, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm just saying it feels that he trusts all my inputs
Yeah,
before
yeah, of
making a
course.
decision. It doesn't mean that he buys watches every month somewhere else, but if something like a unicorn happens and then he takes the time to text me in Las Vegas while he was in Vienna asking me what I think about him buying this watch, that says something.
Yeah.
How I'm gonna
And
be mad about him?
yeah.
I'm not
And
you
and
know
obviously there's kind of like the fine borderline of loyalty, right? Where obviously as a watch collector, we can't put all our eggs in one basket. I say that because it's beneficial for a watch collector to have Brunas everywhere, right?
hmm
I'm just calling it like I
Good
see
luck
it.
finding them. I'm just kidding.
Love you to death, but you get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah,
Like
no, get it.
we can't hang our hat on one relationship to get all the watches we want.
I partially disagree with that, but yes,
Oh, okay.
go
Yeah,
on.
please, please.
Go on. No, go on.
No, no,
I'm here.
and so here's an example, right? And this just happened 2 days ago. So
Mhm.
one of my friends is a professional baseball player, and
Mhm.
he was looking for a Rolex. And
Mhm.
I introduced him to one of my other friends who has every single Rolex under the sun.
Mhm.
And so he was actually visiting this area in California where my friend lives. So he took him into his Rolex dealership, and the Rolex dealership said, "Hey, we're going to shut the store down. Like, we're not letting anybody else here. You can buy anything you want in this store. Anything that's on exhibition, anything that's in the safe." I mean, he could have bought it on the spot. He ended up
Mhm.
buying a Wimbledon and a Celebration dial or perpetual.
Mhm.
So obviously, like there's weird instances, right, where he, as a professional baseball player, in the city where he plays professional baseball, couldn't get the Celebration dial Rolex,
Mhm.
but having an opportunity to meet a new dealer created that situation for him. So he got
Yeah.
something that he would have never gotten normally.
Yeah. But you talk about brand that don't need clients anymore.
That's true, of course.
You're talking about brand that, frankly, they don't need new clients. They have too many to take care of already. So that's why I partially disagree.
That makes
If you think
sense.
about, if you think about Even for VIP clients, there is some brands, they have certain rules that they can sell only like a few pieces, whatever amount they,
Right.
estimate
Right.
per year per client. So if my client obviously wants more than that, I won't be able to deliver because I'm going to be breaking the rule with the brand, which I don't want to do that because I don't want
Of
to damage the
course.
relationship with the rule. But that's not for all the brands, and that's why I partially disagree, because I feel that if you have too many doors, you don't have none. Because if you're giving too much attention to so many doors, how reliable all those doors will be only with you whenever you really need it. I do have clients who deal with me and deal with 7 other dealers, which I'm fine with that. But when I had that special piece, do you really think he's going to be the priority? I
Wow.
have other clients who are dealing with me only. That's on top of my list always. So
I'm
that's
rethinking.
how yes, that's how I partially disagree. Obviously, you want to relax, you cannot find anywhere, and you go everywhere in the world, and then you get offer one. That's why I said like
Yeah.
just get it. It's not a big deal because we don't have. But for other pieces, for other brands, and then for the relationship itself, I don't think that's healthy. I don't think so.
I am
Obviously depends.
rethinking
Yeah,
my whole
obviously
life right now.
depends. Yeah, always depends, what's the client's goals also, because some clients, sometimes they don't, again, sometimes I don't take personal, sometimes the clients, you just want to deal, they just want to that watch, they don't want a long-term relationship, they don't want a whole, and that's okay, that's nothing wrong with that, but that's not what I'm there for. I'm there for cultivate a long-term relationship with good clients. So that's why I partially disagree with that.
Well, you hear it here first. Um, we have like 0 minutes left, as I promised
Sorry
you.
guys.
No. But is there anything that maybe we didn't talk about? Obviously, we promised your tips to getting that watch. You've gave some great insight already. But is there anything that maybe we didn't include in those tips?
So what I would say, for I'm gonna give it like a suggestion for clients who are listening
Please.
to this podcast, and then also for sellers, who works in the industry like I do.
Sure.
Also, I'm gonna give some tips. So for clients, don't be so defensive. Don't be so defensive. Watches are fun. Watches industry is the most fun industry I ever worked at because you guys are so knowledgeable. You guys are so passionate. And then when a client says, "Oh, I only want this watch, I only want that brand," you kind of block your mind for so many great opportunities out there. And I'm not here to talk about brands. I'm not talk about price point of value aftermarket. No, every single price point, every single value of watches might change in the future. I don't have a crystal ball. You don't have a crystal ball. You don't know how it's going to be in the future. So just that's why I always said, just don't be defensive. Open your mind. You don't have to take what you don't like it, but just be open to learn. It doesn't hurt
Yeah.
you know Also, some clients only want watches for investments purposes. Oh, I just want to watch that holds the value. Like, you don't know if it's going to hold the value 10 years from now. And if you're looking for investment, you should not be invest only watches. You should
Right.
get putting your money in SP 500 and just let it grow. It's much better than
Yeah.
putting
Yep.
accessory and then, right. That's
For
how I
sure.
feel.
100%.
That's a very genuine. Of course, feels good to know that you bought a watch and then it's worth 2-3 times more. Feels good.
Of
But if
course.
your only goal is that, it's very frustrating. If your only goal is that, it's very annoying for who is helping you too. So that's my genuine tip. For salespeople, don't take personal. Don't take anything personal. When you want to buy something, you want what you want, and then don't take personal if the client don't like what you show, but just do your best. Just show, just present. Try to learn a little more. Because the clients know more than you probably. Most of the clients know more than us. Just listen to them. Just check the information, make sure it's okay. But you listen to them, learn from them, and share. And when you realize you have a good clientele that trusts you because everything that you say is true, and that's how you build trust, and that's how you grow a healthy business. Because the last thing you want is to sell to somebody who buys because you say something and everything that you say is not true, and then they regret, and then they say bad things about you, about your store, about the product, and
Yeah.
never come back again. So
I got one more for you.
mhm.
How can they find a Bruna without being a Bruna? Like how can they find a sales professional that is passionate, is dedicated, um, like you without actually meeting you? So obviously we're talking to a wide audience here, and there's
Yeah.
people that live on the East Coast and people that live in Asia and people that, obviously it's not possible for them to all come see you. So how can they find you without meeting you?
You can find me. I don't know if somebody like me, but me myself. I do have my Instagram.
We'll definitely
Uh,
link it for
watch
sure.
Bruna. So I post a little bit about watches. I post a little bit about my personal life. I just for fun.
Right.
So that's, you can see my face there, my dogs,
She's
and
there.
some watches that I post sometimes. I could be a little more active online. I have not had time this past few months,
Right.
but I'm there. I'm the one run the account. LinkedIn also, I have my account, Bruna Soares, my first last name, and I can leave the link for you guys. And yeah, so when you come to Las Vegas,
but
shoot a
beyond
message.
that, like what are some tips that you could give them to look for as
That's
a
a good
buyer?
question. That's a good question because, again, as I said, I'm not so loyal to so many people myself, because it's not being pretentious. I hope I don't sound bad saying that, but I
No.
don't see a lot of salespeople doing a great job out there nowadays. Unfortunately, there is a lot of people doing a great job. I have not met many. So I do have a lot of friends in the industry. I have a lot of friends in other industry. They are great. But typically what I look for and to deliver to my clients is genuine attention. Like, I try to listen what they say, even though it's nothing to do with the business, but I try to listen, because if they say something is important to them. And being proactive, if I'm doing every single step that I take, I'm thinking ahead somehow. So I feel like helps a lot the clients, because they don't get like that bad feeling if something happens out of the control. And then if something goes out of the control, be extremely quick about it. So being accessible is definitely a great key to have a good happy clientele portfolio.
Well, we pulled everything that we have out of you in this
Oh
one.
yes,
So thank you again so much for coming
thank
on.
you.
Thank you, Bruna.
Absolutely.
It's an honor to spend time with you. I love hanging out with you. I love coming to see you at the store.
Thank you. Even
And
though the past few times I've been so busy, but that's okay.
I
You bring clients, so us
yeah,
we're not
yeah. I
that busy
mean,
selling.
we communicate outside of the environment, and want to thank you again for coming on and sharing
Thank
your
you.
information, and hopefully our listeners will take some of this to their dealer or to you. We're gonna link your Instagram, and yeah. So hopefully this was helpful, guys. Is there
Thank
anything
you.
else that we all should say before, Justin?
What's up, Justin? What do you think?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I think we've touched on everything. I know she's ready to get out of here. She's like, I gotta go.
Yeah, I know. I promised her we wouldn't take,
So-
her whole evening, but all right, everybody, thank you so much for listening,
Thank
and
you.
we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks,
Thank you. Thank
everyone.
you so
Thanks,
much.
Bruna.
Thank you. See you next time. Take care, guys.
Bye.